And Kerry.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Shalani Feltus for the people.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Michael Bellato, on behalf of Ms. Kerry, who's present.
All right. Thank you. All right, this is date and time set for the continuation of a preliminary examination. Are we ready to proceed?
People are ready.
All right. I believe it was the cross-examination of Detective Parker.
That's correct, Your Honor. May he have his water up there with him?
Yes.
No objection, Your Honor.
So if I could have him re-sworn, yes.
Take a seat, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to affirm the testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Seat, state, spell your first and last name for the record.
Kevin Parvis, last name spelling is Parvic.
All right. You may now exercise your client's constitutional right to cross-examination. Counsel, you may proceed.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Detective Parvis.
Good afternoon.
You have been a police officer for the past 25 years, is that correct? Okay, and just so that I understand your journey, did you start off with the Detroit Police Department, DPD? Is that yes?
Yes, I.
Okay, what year was that? Do you recall?
Um,
I'm not trying to date you, by the way, just trying to. Okay, and then what did you do at DPD? Like, what were you a patrol officer? Did you deal with any electronics or computer forensics or anything like that? I'm sorry, having a hard time hearing his answers. If you could.
The answer is no. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I don't have great hearing. I appreciate it if you would speak up. And so, at some point you left DPD and you went where? To the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Department? And when was that?
February of 2000. That's it. February 2000.
And was it there where you started getting more involved with forensics
Slowly, yes.
in criminal cases?
That's correct.
And I noticed that I think you have a graduate degree, do you not, in forensic, digital forensics?
Yes, my master's degree is in digital forensics.
Oh, thank you. And then I remember when you were testifying, Detective, you talked about, I think 70, you said, I've gone to 70 trainings and I lost track because you've been going to so many trainings. Is that right?
Yes, as far as the training certifications and all that, over 70, well over 70.
Okay. And then when you go to these trainings, you called it a certification. Do you get like a piece of paper saying that you went to the training?
Some offer certifications, some don't, but I have kept track of the dates.
Oh, thank you. And specifically, did any of these training certifications involve specifically Microsoft Exchange server forensics?
Now that's training.
No. What have you done to get up to speed on Microsoft Exchange server?
I have academic background in Microsoft Exchange.
Okay, what is the academic background?
It was both in bachelor's degree and in my PhD program had some
Okay. What year was that?
bachelor's degree was in 2007 and sometime around there. I'm just giving you a ballpark estimate. My PhD ended in 2022. Sometimes.
I'm sorry, you have a PhD in forensic and digital forensic?
Information assurance, which is basically a combination of network security and computer science.
Thank you. Since studying about Microsoft Exchange Server, as I think you said part of your PhD, was that in 2022?
And in August of 2022, I think.
Okay. Have you done anything since August of 2022 to sort of keep up with Microsoft Exchange Server forensics?
Yes, I did some postdoc research through Sands University. I took their 400 level class just to refresh some memories and to do some research specifically in research. And I included servers. There were servers.
Okay. When was this post-document research? Do you recall?
2023, not too long.
Okay, thank you. And you are familiar with the Scioto Township email system? Did you become familiar with it during the course of this investigation? Maybe I'll ask you that way.
That's a very broad question. No, I don't know their whole system. I would say that I can apply what I know to what I have received from Scioto.
Understood. Do you know whether Scioto Township used an on-premises server or a cloud-based server, if you know?
I believe that they use a GFI on-premise server that has a connector to websites.
Are you talking about the GFI archiver? Is that the same thing? Because
That's correct. That's a server that's an archiver of
does that mean that the server is physically there at Scioto Township?
Well, I don't know if it's actually physically in that brick and mortar location. It could be in an adjacent place. I don't know.
But
At some point, I tried to make contact in person to see their server. It really doesn't matter. They do have an in-house, call it an in-house.
okay. You just don't know exactly where it's physically located, correct? Fair to say?
Big idea.
Oh, what is your big idea?
So at one point, when I went to, for the first time I ever went in person to talk to Mr. Hathaway, he took me to the back where their IT person was. And the door was closed and there was a sign that he was in a Zoom meeting or something. And I'm guessing that was the server.
Oh, understood. And that person that you were trying to see, is that Chris Bailey, the former IT director?
No, he was gone then.
Oh.
It was a,
Was it Julio Barros? Is that possible?
yeah, that's it.
Okay, Mr. Barros, thank you. So in your understanding, Scioto Township did not use a cloud-based server for their emails, correct?
They want to.
A cloud-based server.
Well, yeah, they do. I mean, so you can have a local server and there's what's called a connector. It's an add-on that you actually are using online, but there's a stop on the way. That's the best way.
So in other words, you could use both. You could have a server that's a physical server, but also use the cloud server? Or am I saying it wrong?
You can do that. You can archive your email locally and the server is going to keep your information.
Understood. How many, would you say, computer crime cases have you personally investigated that were assigned to you, if you recall?
I actually have a documented list of all my cases, and I believe I'm at around 600, maybe 70.
Okay.
And that entails over about 2,700 devices that I've investigated that I've applied.
And what types of crimes did you investigate with these 670 cases? Let me just ask you, were some of those maybe child pornography cases?
It used to, when I started, there was a lot of those involved. And then as cell phones and computers became bigger, people started using many of them. So I'm involved in pretty much any case that comes around high profile.
Were you ever involved in a case where you had to make a determination, besides this case, any other case, these 670 cases, where you had to make a determination as to whether or not an email was sent manually by a user versus by Microsoft Outlook's cached mode synchronization process?
This is a very specific case. I have never had one that was, but no two cases are identical. If you wanted to ask if I've ever done any server crime, server related cases, yes, but not this specific one. Other two cases are identical.
Yeah, well, let me rephrase the question, because I'm not asking you if this case is identical to any others. I'm asking you if you were involved in a case where it was your duty in that case to distinguish between an email that was sent manually by a user versus sent automatically by Microsoft Outlook's cache mode synchronization process?
Again, this is a very specific case, the one that we're here today, and I've never had anything like this.
Okay, thank you. And I see from your CV that you've testified as an expert in state court, correct? Have you ever been qualified and testified in federal court?
I testified in a grand jury case once. The rest of my, most of my cases that go through the federal system are pedophilia related, and they plead out. Yeah.
And when you testified as an expert, did you always testify on behalf of prosecution?
I testified once on the behalf of the prosecution, but the prosecution was wrong, and I actually, my testimony was on the side.
I'm not asking that actually. Let me try to rephrase it. Maybe I said it incorrectly. I'm asking, have you ever been a witness testifying on behalf of the defense?
On behalf of the defense now.
So you've always been a witness that was called when you're an expert by the prosecutor, correct?
Was called by the prosecutor.
In every case, correct?
I'm sorry.
In every case.
In every case, I was called by.
Thank you. And did you ever testify about this issue of whether an email was sent manually versus automatically transmitted?
As I said, this is a very specific.
Have you ever published any peer-reviewed articles on email forensic analysis? All right, let me take you back in time a little ways, back to November the 19th of 2023. And you understand that the charges in this case relate to an event on November the 15th of 2023, correct?
Correct.
I'm asking you about 4 days later, on November 19th of 2023, were you given a summary of the case by a deputy sheriff named Alex Phillips?
Yes.
And do you know the date of, would it refresh your recollection to look at a copy of Deputy Phillips' report to tell the date that he gave you that summary?
I mean, if the date matters, I believe you.
Yeah, I'd like to get the date, if you don't mind. May I approach to refresh, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm just going to show this.
Was it the original?
Yeah, that's it. You just read that paragraph that I showed you to yourself and let me know when you've done it.
Just read it to myself.
Yeah, just read it to yourself. This is a,
Yeah, I do.
okay, thank you. And can you tell what date that was? Did that refresh your memory as to,
I didn't look at the date.
oh, can I approach again? May I approach? Sorry.
The next. Yes.
So then on November the 19th, that's when you first got wind of this case, correct? And Deputy Phillips gave you a short summary of what he knew.
Yeah, this is very normal, especially with deputies that are brand new. They don't know specific laws regarding cybercrime. So they approach me, they say, okay, this or that. Is this something that I should follow up? Is there a crime that's the and I give them based on their summary, I go, okay, so here there's the statute.
My question to you is did you tell Deputy Phillips on November 19th, 2023, that criminal actions had been taken in this case?
Yeah, based on what he was telling me, that was something that,
But you had not received any digital forensic evidence at that point, correct?
no, what you told me was.
I'm sorry, I just really want, I'm not asking what he told you. I'm just asking if you received forensic evidence before you made that declaration.
No, I had not received anything.
Thank you. But from the summary, you knew that the issue was going to be in the case, or what you had to look into was how this email, and I'm going to be talking about the election email, and I'm talking about the email that went out at 6:08 and 37 seconds from William Hathaway's Outlook account. You know what I'm talking about? When I say election email, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, we can refer to it as the election email from now on.
Great. Okay, that's what I'll do. But was the main thrust of what you were going to be investigating, how this election email got transmitted on November 15th of 2023?
Pretty much.
And you knew at the time that both Mr. Hathaway and Ms. Kerry denied sending that, correct? Or did you?
On the 19th or what?
Well, at some point you learned.
At some point, I understood that way.
So both are denying it and you're trying to find out how it got sent, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Let's talk about the 15th first. November 15th, 2023 at 6:08 p.m. And you can refer to your report at any point if you want to. I'm not trying to catch you off guard here. But 2 items went out from William Hathaway's Scioto Township Outlook email account, correct?
That's not correct.
All right, well, I'm going to ask you about 2 items. I want to ask you about these 2 items. Did these 2 items go out at 6:08? Well, hold on. You said it's not correct. I'm not going to talk about the seconds yet, but
I'm sorry, I'm gonna object to form the question at this point. I think it's very,
okay, it was confusing and I'll try better. 2 items went out within 27 seconds of each other on November 15th, 2023. One went out at 6:08 and 10 seconds. And I'm talking about a Zoom invitation. Do you recall that?
So you're saying 2 items went out. We know that 1 item went out based on the server log.
Okay. So are you taking issue with there being 2 items going sent from Mr. Hathaway's email account at 6:08 and a number of seconds?
No, the first item you're referring to, we don't know if it went out to his email.
And all right, so you're saying that the Francis Zuma meeting invitation from Zoom did not come from Mr. Hathaway's email account?
It may not have been, I don't have any evidence showing that. As a matter of fact, the only evidence that I have shows that it was sent through the calendar, which means that it could have been sent through Zoom, not through the email. And that would explain why the server is not showing that item being sent.
But you know that item was, well, I'll get to that later. All right, well, I'm going to ask you about both of these 2 items. I'm going to be asking you about what I'm going to call the Zoom invitation, which is what you just described to Francis Zuma. You know that Francis Zuma received the Zoom invitation at 6:08 and 10 seconds, correct?
Yeah, that doesn't mean that it was sent.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just asking if you know she received it.
I don't know. I don't know who this person is.
Did you review the email header or the calendar invitation?
Is there the email cat?
The email header?
Email header for the.
Yeah. Yeah, would it refresh your recollection to look at a copy of it? May I approach?
For the record, I don't recall what the,
No, this is something I'm going to ask if you can.
wait, no, I know, I'm just saying, I don't know if you've seen it before. I'm just trying to remember when that came. Do you remember when you did that?
It's from a FOIA request.
But we're not necessarily in possession of that.
I'm not introducing it. I'm just
The question was, you asked him if you recall, so I'm asking how has he seen it? Is he has
You
he
have
seen
to
it?
have seen it before.
But how can it?
I need to hear your pressure.
But you asked him if he's seen it before.
Well,
I'm just trying. I just want to know when it came up. That's all I'm asking.
I'm trying to show the witness something that may refresh his recollection. If he hasn't seen it before, he can say so. and say it hasn't refreshed his recollection. I'm representing to the court that it's an email header for the Zoom invitation.
And Your Honor, my only question for defense counsel was just how that had come over before, just because I think the question was about if this witness had reviewed something and he couldn't recall. And so I don't, there's a lot of documents in this case. I don't recognize this one off the bat. So I'm just trying to figure out where it is. So I know if this is something that has been reviewed or not. I'm not trying to slow down the cross. I just want to understand where this came from.
Where did it come from?
It's from a FOIA request. We got it from the,
From the
but
township?
yeah, Your Honor, I'm not trying to introduce it. I just wanted to refresh his memory,
Well,
if I
I
could.
don't know how it. If you receive something through a FOIA request, who knows whether or not he's seen it?
And it may have been given to us when he did an additional report. I'm just trying to locate it, Your Honor, so I can
You know
understand.
where it is in that? When, are you talking about when defense counsel gave you an additional report?
I'm talking about when Mr. Childers and Mr. Bellotta met with Detective Carves with additional information, and Detective Carves prepared the additional report. I think the court recalls we've had several reports here. One of them happening after that meeting. I'm not sure if this is something that was given to Detective Carves at that time. I just don't recognize it. That's why I was asking, not trying to jam this. So I'm just not quite sure where this came from. So I'm not clear if this was ever given to my office before. But if the defense counsel is attempting to use this to refresh the witness's recollection, and it doesn't refresh his recollection, I guess we'll go from there.
Thank you. Just take a look at that yourself, and then I'll ask you if it refreshes your memory.
I've not seen this before.
Okay.
That's the question.
All right, thank you. So then it doesn't refresh it.
I have no idea what this is.
Okay, thank you. You don't know, as you sit here on the stand right now, you don't know what time. Well, do you even know what date the Zoom invitation to France Zuma was received by Frances Zuma? Do you know what date she received it?
I'm guessing you're going to say on the 5th.
Well, didn't you write reports about that?
I don't think I mentioned anything about Zuma. What I mentioned was I'm bound by the four corners of my monitor. I'm digesting the front.
Okay. Do you have any evidence to refute that she received that email on November the 15th, 2023? Or that's inconsistent with that, I guess?
I know that I'm going to call it the email you versus the email. We don't
I'll just call it a Zoom invite.
invite.
Yep.
I know that it was sent on the 15th automatically. And I believe your previous examiner also agreed.
Right. And you read the report of Mr. Lawrence Lee, correct?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I couldn't hear.
And he discussed that calendar and Zoom invitation.
I agree with it that it was sent automatically on the 15th.
Did you agree with him that it was sent at 6:08 and 10 seconds?
Yeah, I believe so. It's,
Okay. All right.
yes, that's correct.
All right. Thank you. So you agree that the Zoom invitation was sent at 6:08 and 10 seconds, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get. Thank you. And then 27 seconds after that, email forward of an email from July of 2022 was sent out from Mr. Hathaway's email, correct?
They're not on the same footing, but just for the record, these are completely different.
Right.
But
You could, okay,
the second one is an email that was sent. Yes, that's correct.
but I'm focusing on the time right now. Okay, you already said that the Zoom invitation was sent out at 6:08 and 10 seconds. I'm asking you, was the email, the election email sent out from Mr. Hathaway's Outlook account at 6:08 and 37 seconds? That's what I'm asking. Yes?
Yes.
And you understand that Jillian Kerry is not disputing the fact that she was operating the shared laptop at that time when both those things went out. You understand she's not refuting that, right? She's not. Okay. The question is, isn't it? How did that email get sent? Okay. And you understand that the defense and Mr. Lieb maintain that it was done automatically through Microsoft Exchange's cache mode synchronization, correct? That was Mr. Lieb's.
Yes, but it doesn't make sense at all.
Okay, I understand you don't agree with it. I'm just asking, is that what he was in his report, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. I think that he's answered the question.
Sustained that objection.
But you, all right, I'll move on. And you know from the investigation, I mean, you did other things, by the way, didn't you, besides just look at raw data? You talk to people like Will Hathaway, didn't you?
I went in person and talked to Mr. Hathaway once. And then, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And sometimes would you agree that when you're trying to make a forensic determination, sometimes it's important to know other facts surrounding the digital forensic item that you're reviewing, correct? And one of the things that you learned through the course of this investigation, that around the time that the election email got sent, Jillian Kerry was trying to start a meeting in the township hall, correct? And are you aware that she has a email account called racchair@sciotownship.org? Okay, are you aware that she had received a Zoom notification code at 6:06 and 45 seconds to that email?
But it would make sense that she.
Okay, but you do know she contacted Zoom on the shared laptop before she launched Outlook, correct?
But based on forensic findings, I believe Zoom was initiated before that email was opened and sent.
And you know you've used Zoom before, haven't you? And you know that sometimes when you try to use your Zoom may send what's called a authentication code to your email, correct? Well, if you don't know that, just say you don't know. You don't know? Oh, I can't testify. You don't know, you just say you don't know. You don't know, okay. But you don't have you didn't see any forensic evidence to call that into dispute that you received an authentication code. You don't have anything to the contrary, correct?
I don't know one way.
Okay, thank you. Now, in the course of your reaching an opinion in this case, in addition to Mr. Lieb's report, did you also review a report from a company called N1 Discovery? And is it your understanding that this report was commissioned by the township?
I don't think so.
And I'm going to ask you about a couple parts of this report. And if you need to refresh your memory, I have it right here. But I want to ask you if you agree, and I'm going to be reading from the report just because I want to understand if you agree with this. Do you have a copy in front of me?
I do.
Oh, perfect. Can you go to page 2? Um, yep, the second to last, sorry. Yeah, second to last paragraph. Oh, sorry, the very last paragraph. I apologize. The last paragraph.
The one that starts with since.
Yeah, the one that starts with sin. So I'll read it, and I'm going to ask you if you agree with it. Since there were no sign-in events, but artifacts show the Outlook desktop application syncing the Hathaway email account, this indicates that the Hathaway email account had been previously signed in to the shared Dell laptop, and the profile was still present and active. Do you see that sentence?
Yes, and yeah, it's called an SSO, single sign-on. That's when you have when you log in, you actually sign in also to other applications. That's what they're referring to.
Do you agree with that sentence?
Yeah.
That finding?
Well, since there were no sign-in events, but artifacts show the Outlook desktop application syncing the Hathaway email account. This Hathaway email account has previously signed into shared. Yeah, I can't speak that. That's right.
Okay, that's correct. Thank you. And then the last sentence, the very last sentence, states that Microsoft persistent features would have kept the account signed in. Do you see that?
Yeah, that's the essence of something.
Okay. And then, so you don't have any reason to doubt that when Jillian Kerry logged onto that, or sorry, when Jillian Kerry launched Outlook on November 15th, 2023, Mr. Hathaway's email would open automatically into his email. So this isn't you're not investigating a hacking case where someone steals a password and signs into somebody's email account, are you?
I'm not saying that.
That's not what happened here. You agree with that, right? What happened here is Mr. Hathaway's email opened when Ms. Kerry clicked on to launch the Outlook. His automatically opened because of this persistence that you just mentioned, correct? Is that yes?
Yes.
Sorry, you have to say yes or no. You can't say yeah.
Yes, it was so obvious that I said yeah, but yes.
Thank you. And the icon on the shared laptop, you would expect it to be just a generic Outlook icon, correct?
I don't know.
Well, let me rephrase it. Do you have any reason to believe that Jillian Kerry would have known when she clicked on the Outlook or she launched the Outlook that it was going to open to William Hathaway's directly into his?
I don't know if she had any past experience with that laptop ever. I mean, I don't know if she's ever used it to log into Zoom and that had happened before. I don't know.
Well, I'm asking you specifically, since this is a criminal case, if you have any evidence that she knew that his account would open.
Objection, Your Honor. I don't know how he can know what's in the defendant's mind.
I'm asking that corroborating evidence, Your Honor.
Well, he answered the question once and said he didn't know what she knew. And then the question was rephrased, and it's essentially the same thing. So now it's also asked an answer.
I'm going to sustain the objection. Move on.
But you agree that the icon itself doesn't say William Hathaway's Outlook. It just has an icon, correct?
The icon.
It's generic, right? Doesn't have a person's name on it usually.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you. Did you investigate whether or not this election email was sent out automatically by William Hathaway's Outlook account while it was synchronizing with the server rather than manually by Jillian Kerry? Did you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. We'll get into that. But first, I want to go back to the date of November 13th of 2023. So 2 days before the election email goes out. You know that Mr. Hathaway tried to send emails from that day from the shared laptop on November 13th, 2023. You know that because he sent you an email, correct?
From that shared laptop, can you refresh my memory with some?
Sure. I'm going to show you an email dated October 9th, 2024 from Will Hathaway to Kevin Parvis.
No, I think this was the email I thought you were gonna use, it's fine.
Yeah, bro.
May.
I'm going to show you a document, see if it refreshes your memory. For the record, it's an email dated October 9th, 2024 from Will Hathaway to Kevin Parvis. Just read that to yourself, and then I'll ask some questions. Tell me when you're done reading, please.
Yes.
Thank you. So you learned, does this sound familiar? I mean, do you remember this email coming in October of 2024?
I vaguely remember, yes.
Okay. And and the email said that Mr. Hathaway realized that he sent multiple messages from the shared computer on Monday, November 13th, 2023, while I was struggling to create a Zoom link to the noon meeting of the Downtown Development Authority, DDA. So then, since Hathaway told you that in an email, did you then go investigate what happened on November 13th of 2023? You did?
Yes, on the computer.
And he was using the same shared laptop that Jillian Kerry used on November 15th, 2023, as far as you know, correct?
I know they're referring to that email with the same laptop.
And you had heard it described as the Zoom laptop or the meeting hall laptop, correct?
Different words, yeah, shared laptop.
Okay, we'll just call it the shared laptop, shared SIO laptop. And did Mr. Hathaway tell you that he used that shared laptop on November 13th of 2023 to try to send a Zoom invitation for a noon meeting of the DDA?
Yes.
Do you know when that, I guess we already talked about that. We already talked about when Ms. Zuma received notification of the meeting for November 13th at noon, and that happened 2 days later, correct?
Correct.
Do you know where that Zoom invitation was for 2 days between November the 13th and November the 15th?
I can show that it was set on the 13th.
But do you know why it wasn't sent on the 13th when Mr. Hathaway tried to send it?
That depends on so many different factors. I have no information about it.
So you don't know, correct?
I can,
No, I think you answered the question. Thank you. And you've concluded in your, I think it's your report number 3, Detective Parvis, you concluded in your 3rd report that based on the artifacts that you saw, you said it can be surmised that the sending of the Zoom invite was done automatically and without the users, the suspects intend to do so, correct? And you believe that? You believe that Zoom invitation was sent automatically, whether it was by Outlook or by Zoom itself, it was sent automatically and not by Ms. Kerry, correct?
yes, I can say that it was not sent by a human user.
Okay, thank you. And why did you reach that conclusion, by the way?
Oh, Because the mapping was not initiated for that second.
Okay.
If you look at page 5 of my report number 3, you'll see there's an empty timeline.
Sorry, page 5?
And you'll see that the first initiation on the database is showing that calendar was initiated. So this was a calendar. That's why every time you say email, I'm saying I don't know if it's email because the calendar was initiated.
Understood.
And then the next step is a sent item. And neither one of the two actions is done by a human. Right? It's not initiated.
Understood. Did you investigate the possibility that William Hathaway tried to send 2 items on November 13th from the laptop?
What would be the second?
That he initiated the Zoom invitation. So let me back up before we go further. Let me ask you this: when you're doing a Zoom invite, when you're signing up a Zoom to do a meeting, right? The Zoom interfaces with the user's email system somehow, correct?
Yes, usually they have an add-on. Okay.
But if when Mr. Hathaway tried to send that or try to initiate that, we'll just say initiate that, if the shared laptop on November 13th of 2023 wasn't connected to the server, and I'm talking about the Microsoft Exchange server, then it wouldn't have been sent, it wouldn't have gone through that day, correct?
Not necessarily. I mean, the archiver could have done something. It all depends. It depends on if the server was updating. There was so many things. I don't have any information about that. I keep bringing that up, but it's an unfalsifiable proposition. I can't. I don't have any server logs. I don't have anything about this.
Understood.
I can only go by what forensics is telling me that it was sent, it was clicked to be sent on the 13th. And I can show that on the 15th it was automatically sent out, which is completely.
Okay, appreciate that. My question is, well, I just want to just confirm that you agree with this. The Zoom invitation was sent out 27 seconds before the election email was sent out.
They're not on the same.
I'm not asking you if they're on the same footing. I'm just asking you if the time, I'm just talking about the time, sir.
But when you're bringing up those 2 times.
Your Honor, I'm going to object as non-responsive. I'm just asking.
He's responding to your question. Go ahead, you can finish your answer.
Okay.
When you're bringing up those 2, you're putting them on the same level. They're not.
Okay.
The first one, I agree, was sent out on the.
Do you agree? But you agree that 6:08 and 10 seconds and 6:08 and 37 seconds are 27 seconds apart, correct?
They're 27 seconds apart.
Thank you. What is a batch transfer
Batch transfer in what?
in terms of Microsoft Outlook's cached exchange synchronization?
Is this a 1 year? Because I don't.
I'm just asking you if you know what that word means, sir, in this context.
What counts?
Well, I'll ask a more leading question. Isn't it true that a batch transfer in terms of Microsoft cached exchange mode synchronization is when the Microsoft server sends or receives multiple email items together in one bundled package during a synchronization cycle? Does that?
Yes, this is such a non sequitur from what we were just talking, but yes, that is the definition of batch. Yes.
Right, so that's the definition of batch transfer. Did you consider the possibility that both the invitation calendar, or sorry, the Zoom invitation and the election email were sent together in a batch transfer?
That is absolutely not the case. And
All right, I'm just asking if you considered it. I didn't ask you to explain it. I'm just asking if you considered that.
okay,
And you think it wasn't, okay? Are you familiar with the cached exchange mode of Microsoft Outlook? And what is it?
basically, the ability for local computers to synchronize and maintain a copy of the email.
And so you would agree that under the cached exchange mode of Microsoft Outlook, a user can work on emails even when they're not connected to the server, and the cached mode will keep a copy of the local mailbox on the device, correct? And if someone tries to send an email in this cached exchange mode when the server is not connected to the device, isn't it true that the email would get stored the local mailbox on the device,
In the outbox.
in the outbox, queued for delivery, correct? And not just queued for delivery, queued for automatic delivery transmission, correct?
Yes,
With no user interaction.
I would have to test that. I don't know.
Okay,
The court's gonna have to stand in brief recess and I'll be back and let you continue.
thank you, Aaron.
If I could have avoided it, I would. All right. You may continue.
Thank you, Aaron. Going back, Detective Parvis, to November 13th of 2023, when Mr. Hathaway said that he was struggling to start to send the Zoom invite. You remember that testimony earlier? Okay. On that date, can you think of when he was doing that, can you think of any ways that the SIO shared laptop could have lost its connection with the Microsoft Exchange server on the 13th? Like, what are the ways that it could lose connection?
Yeah, I didn't see that in the logs.
I'm asking you just generally, how can a laptop that's operating Outlook, how can it lose a connection to the server? Can you think of any ways that could occur?
Yeah, you can turn off the Wi-Fi, you can disconnect the Ethernet cable. There could be on the server side, disconnection, million reasons.
Okay. One of those reasons, though, I think you alluded to it, was if the laptop lost connection to the internet, could that cause it to disengage with the server?
To disengage, you mean?
Yeah, to lose connection with the server.
That could hypothetically happen, but it didn't happen.
Okay, I'm just asking you hypothetically, it could have happened. And did you investigate Scioto Township's connectivity issues that they may have been having with their internet service?
I can ask for it.
No one mentioned that to you in your investigation?
No, they didn't.
Okay.
That's the laptop.
And another reason that the laptop could have disconnected from the server would be if someone would maybe power down their laptop.
Yes.
Okay. And so, for instance, let's say hypothetically, if Mr. Hathaway had powered down his laptop before the emails he was trying to send, before his emails were able to connect with the server, could that have caused them to be stuck? And I shouldn't say stuck, stored in an outbox if that happened?
I wanted details.
I'm sorry, I'm not asking about your report. I'm just asking, could that have happened? Like hypothetically?
say this scenario again. This is,
Okay, let's say that Mr. Hathaway was, because he said he was struggling to start the send the Zoom invite. Remember that? And let's say that he shut down his laptop too soon after he pushed send. Could that disconnect him? Could that prevent it from being sent?
yes, I mean, hypothetically.
Yeah, okay. All right, I just want to ask you about some time differences, okay? So I want to talk about the fact that we already covered, which was Ms. Kerry launched Outlook at 6:07 and 15 seconds. And then the Zoom invitation was sent at 6:08 and 10 seconds. Do you remember your testimony regarding that? Okay. I'm asking about that 55 seconds between 6:07:15 and 6:08:10. That 55 seconds, do you know what the server was doing during those 55 seconds?
The server was doing?
Yes.
No, just like I don't know what traffic was outside.
Okay. Did you consider, well, the server could have been running what's called a startup sequence. Is that correct?
That could be one.
Do you know what a server startup sequence is?
Yeah, is it a SQL database, database gathering?
Is it,
Gathering the,
okay, is it when the server is booting up and it does a number of tasks in a specific order? Sorry, is that yes?
yes,
Thank you. And according to Microsoft's literature, its own literature, do you know what the average time it would take for the Exchange server startup sequence to complete?
probably.
Okay. Would you have any reason to disagree that Microsoft states that it takes 30 to 60 seconds?
Well, it depends on what kind of security you're using, depends on what kind of tasks.
Is that within the range of possibility in your opinion?
It could be, but okay, just for the record, this appears to me that you're doing the voir dire testing my knowledge. That has nothing to do with.
Your Honor, can I ask you to instruct the witness to answer the question as opposed to comment?
That he answered your question.
Okay, thank you. But it wouldn't surprise you if a startup sequence for the server would take between 30 and 60 seconds. That wouldn't be unusual in your experience, correct?
I suppose I don't know.
So I'm sorry, you don't know. Okay, thank you. And then the election email was sent 27 seconds after the Zoom invitation at 6:08:37. Is that correct? And did you investigate what the server was doing during those 27 seconds? Did you consider that the server was still conducting internal processing on the server side during those 27 seconds? Okay, but you would agree, wouldn't you, that if the server was still conducting internal processing during the 27 seconds, it would have been impossible for Jillian Kerry to manually send an email until that internal processing was done. Is that correct?
That's like one hypothesis. I don't know.
Well,
You want me to say yes or no?
no,
Okay.
I'll ask it a different way, sir. I don't need a commentary. I'm just asking you a question.
No, you let him finish his answer. Go ahead. What were you going to say, sir?
This is such a hypothetical scenario. Did it happen? Do you have any evidence that it happened?
I'm just asking you a question.
What is the question again?
I was asking you that if during the 21 seconds between the Zoom invitation being sent and then the email or the election email being sent, that 27 seconds, if the Microsoft Exchange server was still conducting internal processing, would you agree that an email can't be sent when the server is busy?
If the server was busy at the time, chances are that would probably not happen, but the logs are showing that it did happen.
And would you describe a server Have you ever given an example that a server is like an assistant that you're asking to do things, and if it's already doing something else, that task is put on its desk basically, and it has to wait until it's finished doing what it's already doing, and then it'll get to that new task. Is that fair to describe a server that way? Yeah, thank you. Okay, I want to ask you about a log known as a mailbox audit log. Are you aware of what that is? And what is it?
It's it basically tracks down every email that, if you're talking about the audit logs, we're talking about, are we talking about the Microsoft Exchange audit log, or are you talking about the server GF5?
I'm talking about the mailbox audit log.
Okay, so
Well,
you have the local server that creates logs,
okay.
and those are the ones that you do e-discovery on. So that's what you're asking.
Okay, well, okay, let me be more specific then. Do you know who Chris Bailey is? And was he the former IT director of Scioto Township? And he sent you a bunch of information, a bunch of files, didn't he? He also sent you a mailbox audit log, didn't he?
Okay, you're mixing terminologies here. The audit log run by the administrator oversees pretty much everything. If you delete an email, things of that nature. That's different. When you put the word audit in there, it makes a big difference.
Okay, did you receive?
The local server log, yes,
Okay, did you receive a file from Chris Bailey with the title Will Hathaway Mailbox Audit Log .csv, if you recall?
I don't recall the name of it, but I think you and I are talking about the same show.
Okay. All right. Now, and I'm going to call it the mailbox audit log because that's the name of the file that I'm referring to. And I want to be clear for the record what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that specific log that was provided by Chris Bailey. That's what I'm talking about. Okay.
I think we're talking about.
Okay, good. Now, if Jillian Kerry manually forwarded this election email, as you claim, there would be certain events documented in this mailbox audit log. Is that correct?
If she manually.
Yes.
I don't know how to answer that question. It's a very misleading question. You have to break it down.
Okay, I'm not at all trying to mislead you or trick you. I'm just trying to ask this question. And I'll ask it this way. I'll make it more specific. If Jillian Kerry accessed Will Hathaway's folders, such as his inbox or his sent box, isn't it true that you would see an event documented in the mailbox log titled folder bind, FOLDER BIND, with no space between them? Isn't it true that you would see that?
I may have to show you the server log that I'm talking, because now I'm questioning whether or not we're talking about the same Excel sheet.
Okay, well, did you see in any log that you looked at? How many logs did you look at?
Okay, so I received 2 Excel sheets from Kerry. One was all the emails that from Mr. Hathaway's email for to everybody, and one was specific to Mrs. Flintoff.
Okay.
And those are the 2 that I received. If we're talking about those, I think.
So is what you're saying is that you don't know what I mean when I say mailbox audit log? Do you not? Is that just,
No,
is that confusing?
I don't know what you mean by when you say that if somebody accessed a folder, it would show up as that access being done. I don't recall that anywhere in the Excel sheet.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking about. So do you know what the artifact folder bind means as it relates to the mailbox log or as it relates to Microsoft Outlook?
Are you talking about the the laptop, or are you talking about the server having?
The server.
The server log doesn't show that.
Okay, so the server log, none of the server logs did you see the word folder bind, correct?
Not that I saw.
Okay, and if you saw it, you would have put it in a report, correct?
Yeah. I didn't see
Okay. And doesn't the lack of you seeing these words folder bind in any of the logs, doesn't this undercut your opinion that Jillian Kerry interacted in any way with William Hathaway's Outlook account on November 15th?
Computer part, the part that you don't want me to continue with, shows that that email was actually open on that laptop. I can.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. We'll get to it.
So the answer is no.
Okay. But you would agree that Jillian Kerry could not have forwarded an email without opening some folder in Mr. Hathaway's account, correct?
Some,
Well, a folder, whether it's inbox, she'd have to find the email, right?
not necessarily, it's when the email Outlook opens up, I don't have any information that particular email was inside the folder.
Okay.
If you're talking about the MST files, then they just automatically pull up. They don't. Pulling up from anything that is inside a folder. That's what.
Okay. So let me ask you this. You remember testifying. Oh, wait. Do you know about, let me ask you this. Do you know about the artifact's message bind? Do you know about that artifact message bind? Have you ever heard of the artifact mail items accessed? I'm asking about the mailbox audit log, but I'll ask you about any log you looked at.
No, I didn't see that.
Okay. Isn't it true that if Jillian Kerry, and let me back up, you testified on the 17th of June, right? When you testified last of this year, you testified that you knew that the email was opened at 6:08. And you said this, and I'm just going to quote from your transcript, and I can show you the transcript if you want to see it. But you said, I knew the email was open at 6:08, and this is on page 27. And I knew that the email was sent at 6:08:38. And based on all of that, I closed this case and turned it over to Deputy Phillips. Do you remember testifying to that?
I'm sure, yeah.
Okay. But if Jillian Kerry opened the email, like you're saying, there would have been additional events in the mailbox audit log that would read message bind or mail items accessed. Isn't that true?
No, it's not true. I'm not.
Okay. Do you know why those messages, those artifacts weren't found in the logs?
I never received that.
Oh, you never received the mailbox audit log?
No, I didn't. That's why I keep saying, maybe we're talking about.
Okay. Is that something that you would want to review in this case?
Well, it takes a while to go through everything. But
I mean, if you had the time, would you review it? Okay. But you think it's an important log, the mailbox audit log?
well, to answer that question, it probably is, but I have to look at it. I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm ready to bring it up.
Okay. Now, let me ask you about another log. Maybe you've seen this one, I'm not sure. It's called manifest.xml. You know what that log is?
XML, rings a bell, but it's not in my report.
Okay. In looking at the logs that you did look at, which you said were the server log for the Microsoft Exchange server log, right? And you also looked at the Windows search database, correct?
And the event. So
And the event logs, right? Okay. Did you ever see, with respect to the election email, did you ever see any strange anomalies in the Times?
Like what?
Okay, I'll tell you. So did you see in any of the logs that the election email states it was received at 6:08:00, but then sent at 6:08:37? Okay, so would you call that a reverse timestamp, or what would you say?
6:08, when you open an email at 6:08 and it's send it at 6:08:37, it's not an anomaly.
Okay, so when did you see an artifact that showed a receiving of the email? Well, it said received. Did you see an artifact that said received with respect to the election email received at 6:08:00? Did you see that in any log? If you didn't, then okay. All right, but you would agree that you can't receive an email from somebody until they send it, correct?
Can you see something on this?
Like if I'm trying to send you an email, let's just make it simple. I'm trying to send you an email, okay? And can you receive the email before I hit send?
No.
Okay, so you agree just generally, this is a very basic question. Generally, the received would come after the sent. Someone sends something and someone receives something, right? Okay, do you know why, if in a log relating to this email, if it showed that backwards, do you know why that could have occurred?
I want to see that log before I answer.
Okay, so you're not prepared to answer that because you haven't seen the log.
I have not seen the log.
Is the manifest.xml log something that you'd want to look at to be sure about your opinion in this case?
Sure.
So you're open to looking at that, correct?
Yes.
And I don't mean to show it to you now, I'm just asking you generally. Okay,
But the prosecution did not receive it.
okay, thank you. Are you aware whether or not Microsoft's documentation states that this reverse timestamp anomaly is something that occurs and is consistent with an automatic transmission of an email?
I still insist that I receive that before.
But have
I
you,
don't know what Microsoft said.
because you're not aware of what they say about the reverse timestamp? Okay. Okay, let me talk about the Windows Search Database, please. What is that Windows Search Database?
Search is basically a program that's running in the background and pretty much tracks down what the user is doing on a computer. Just in case, it doesn't apply to all the folders, all the directories on the computer, but it points out if something has been accessed or modified.
Yep, and you looked at that in this case, correct? And the files that it creates, are they called Windows EDB files?
The Windows 10.
I'm sorry?
They changed their EDB.
Okay. And you saw a read artifact that said read with a timestamp of 6:08:00, correct?
Yes, I saw that manually carved it out, and I also saw it in actually.
Right.
Was it to
And you concluded after seeing that artifact that the user, in this case, Jillian Kerry, double-clicked on the email based on that artifact, correct?
on that and additional articles.
Okay. Have you reviewed Microsoft's documentation regarding a read artifact and what that signifies in the Windows Search Database?
I don't know what specifically.
Well, doesn't Microsoft's own website state that a read artifact in Windows does not necessarily mean a user did a manual action?
That by itself may not mean that, if that's what Microsoft said.
Okay.
There are additional supporting artifacts that immediately come after that email was.
Okay. So read artifact then may not necessarily mean that a user did a physical action. It could have been something else.
That's exactly what it means. I didn't say that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I don't mean to I do not mean to misunderstand you. Let me ask you this. Isn't it true that the read artifact can indicate one of several automatic computer-driven events? If you know,
I don't know what you're referring to.
I'm referring to,
I would like to read that.
okay, well, all right, well, then I guess your answer is you don't know at this point, correct?
Well, what I knew is that when you activate an email, you are opening up the mapping environment. And that will be a bunch of additional artifacts, and those all over.
Okay. And what were those other artifacts that occurred?
I'm glad you asked.
ahead.
So when you open up an email, there's additional dynamic link library. These are programs that are shared among other programs. For example, True Font. True Font is showing you what kind of font you chose to apply to or open up an email. That is shared with, for example, Microsoft Word and Photoshop, for example. They all use the same library. That those are called DLL, dynamic link library. When you open up an email, that activates immediately. And as you can see, it activates. After that, you see additional DLLs, those dynamic link library. Those include your grammar check, your spelling check. You get the red squiggly mark under the spell. Well, that's because you activate the dynamic link library. It's running in the background. Lexicon runs in the background. That's really happens when you open up an email. When you open it, it's activated in the background. You don't see them, but forensically, you can see them. I have screenshots of that. They immediately happen.
Okay.
So they support the fact that this email is open.
Okay. I appreciate you explaining that. But let me ask you this. The read artifact in and of itself, isn't it true that it can indicate an automatic computer event like automatic search indexing? Is that true?
I don't believe that's true.
Okay. Isn't it true that the read artifact can also signify background indexing and maintenance?
Maintenance that it doesn't comport with the
But I'm not asking about the other artifacts. I'm just saying just the read artifact, that alone, that can signify, because you said that the read artifact was significant to you because that's how you know she opened the email, right?
I said, well, the reason why forensic tools mark that as read, the word READ, and the reason why Microsoft itself in the database, this is Microsoft itself, within it, in the database at the bottom, it says read. I have screenshots of that. The reason why that happens is because you're activating manual. You have to activate manual. If Microsoft is going against what they have actually put in there as read, then something I have to read and decipher what it is that causes that. However, I don't go by the word read. As I mentioned in my report, I said that it's been accessed. I don't go by what Microsoft is saying. What Microsoft it says read. When Mac is activated, it types it as read.
Okay. And the last question on this topic is, isn't it true that that read artifact can signify cached synchronization? In other words, sending emails that were queued in someone's outbox.
No, that is at all.
Does not mean that at all? You're sure of that? Okay, thank you. Moving on to another area. Let me talk about user communication. You testified that you saw user communication in the Windows search database logs, correct?
I'm sorry.
You saw the artifact user communication in the Windows search
Yes.
database. And you said that that means that the user of the device did something manually, correct? But doesn't Microsoft, again, don't they say that a user communication entry in the Windows search database can be created during automatic synchronization?
User communication is a term that is used by the forensic tool. It's not something that's used by Microsoft. So I don't know why this article would ever mention anything about something that a forensic tool says.
Okay, so I guess you maintain that user communication just 100% means that someone did something, a person did something. Sorry?
Artifacts that I mentioned.
I'm just asking you, when you see, and I'm not talking about this case, just in general, when you see user communication in the Windows search database, your testimony, if I understand it, is that in and of itself means that someone, a user, did something.
Can I object to that question?
Sustained.
Can I
Sustained.
make the record?
No, well, go ahead if you.
I'd like to know why I did
I
that.
want to be clear what my objection is, so we don't have to come back. Because my objection is that the detective clearly stated that the user communication language he used was part of the forensic software, not necessarily the Microsoft explanation. Thank you.
I think it was clear. I understand your record
Thank you, Your
and
Honor.
your objections.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on. Oh, go ahead. If you want to get a okay. All right, I'm going to ask you about your testimony where you linked the email, the election email, to the Wi-Fi at Scioto Township. Do you remember your testimony there? And you thought that you used that as part of your investigation, that fact, correct?
Yes.
All right, but isn't it true that if the email was sent while the laptop was syncing in the cached synchronization process, it still would have shown the same IP address?
But it wouldn't be in the log. This is a sent log. This is a sent email.
Let me,
You know, when a laptop is sitting there, it's just it's not creating any log in the email server because there's no email leaving. So your assertion is incorrect.
so your testimony then is if anything, when it's synchronizing, it doesn't use any IP address, correct? Is that your,
It's using IP address. Anytime this device is connected to the internet, it's using an IP address. However, that IP address specifically means that server log is for an email that was sent out from that very laptop. Has nothing to do with its synchronization.
I know, but if the email was sent automatically, it was still being sent from that laptop, wasn't it?
But we have, well, number one, we don't know that that was sent automatically. As a matter of fact, every evidence that I have here shows that it wasn't sent.
That's where we differ, so you understand that. Okay,
But what you're saying is that if the laptop is sitting there and it's still using the IP address, because the automatic synchronization is not going to be appearing in the server log. The
Okay.
server log is for emails that are sent and received through the mail transfers agent.
I understand that. But my question is this, you can't tell whether something is manually sent or sent during synchronization just by the fact that both would use the same IP address.
Once
If you understand the question, if
I
you don't,
understand fully what you're saying.
okay.
When an email is sent, it goes through several processes, and then at the end, it's going to get a public facing IP address where it's going to send it outside the agency. So what we're talking about here is a process where the email has left the public. And what you're talking about is some sort of synchronization that happens as part of the exchange so that you have a copy of the email. So you're comparing apples and oranges. You're pretty different.
Okay.
I'm very confused by the question.
I'll move on. Do you feel like you've done a thorough investigation as to what caused this election email to be sent?
I think I've gone above and beyond. I've spent at least 2 months on this case, and I think, and I've actually had to fallen behind on my very high priority cases because of this.
Okay. Did you ever examine Mr. Hathaway's other devices? Like, did you extract his phone or image his Apple? Let me finish. His Apple laptop, his Mac laptop.
Absolutely,
So you didn't. So you didn't do it, correct?
I did not. I had all the,
Sorry, what was the last part?
I had all the evidence from that laptop, and I had the server log.
You were satisfied with what evidence you had?
Yes.
Did you ever check? Do you know what advanced setting options are on in regard to Microsoft Outlook?
And so, yes,
Okay, and do you know that there's a option that you can select that states send immediately when connected? Did you check the shared laptop and Will Hathaway's Outlook configuration to see? Let me finish to see whether or not that was checked.
I didn't, and the reason was because your client deleted the Outlook as soon as you sent out.
Objection. That's the fact's not an evidence. How do you
That's your answer.
how do you know my
That's
client?
the question, that's the answer.
I appreciate it. How do you know that my client sent anything? What are you referring to? I'm just trying to understand that answer.
So your client was in full control of that laptop at the time when that email was sent. That gives me more than a probable cause to state what I just said. On the other hand, we know that she deleted the Outlook after that email was sent out. I don't have the Outlook, I don't have the settings up anymore because it's gone.
Okay. But when you said she deleted, are you talking about Ian Hubert, who took that Hathaway's Outlook off of the are you talking about something specifically that Jillian Kerry did? I'm confused.
I thought that either Ian did or Jillian, but they were both present at the time when they did that. Uninstall Outlook or whatever they did, it's gone.
Okay, but you keep saying they. Do you have any evidence that Jillian herself did anything to uninstall it?
I don't have. I know she was in control of the laptop. I don't have a digital.
Okay. All right. Do you know if Miss Kerry has any expertise in computers?
I don't know.
So you don't know if she even knows how to uninstall anything, do you?
I don't know.
All right. What is a Microsoft Purview audit log?
Okay, so that's that's run by the administrator. It has some information in addition to the mail server log, and it has any information that's missing, like server log.
Are you aware that Microsoft only keeps those logs for about 90 days?
I would believe that
Did you send a preservation letter to Microsoft to retain that log? Why not?
because I have the server log. The server logs would exactly point out specifically what I was doing.
But you knew you could have done that, correct?
I could have done a lot.
And you decided not to send a preservation letter for the, sorry?
There was no.
Okay. And you mentioned the GFI archiver, and I think you testified in your direct about some frustration you had in not being able to get your hands on that or to see that, correct? Did you ever try to subpoena that item? Yeah, or do a search warrant or something?
Well, I did consider doing a search warrant at some points, but I didn't want to bring down the township's screening law. So, based on what I already had, I had more than enough to just pull.
Okay, in your first report, you wrote that you did not have time. You did not have time to do what you called a preview. And I just wanted to know, what is that? What is a preview? If you could just tell me in general terms. Yeah, just in general terms. What does that mean?
Part of my PhD dissertation was on that.
Okay.
So basically, it's immediately you look at the device and you go through the triage part. After that, there's preview is not a full forensic examination, which doesn't really exist. Nobody has time to go through every view at once on a hard drive. So the preview is usually just a more thorough version of triage and less than a forensic examination.
Okay, but you said that it's an extremely time-consuming process that would exceed the time that you could allocate to this case, correct? Yeah, sure. You want your report? It's page 9 of your first report.
People's 3.
I can show you. It's on page 9 at the below. It's the paragraph below the screenshot. On the 9th page, 9 of 11.
The paragraphs go with-
It has to be noted. Yeah. Yep. Can you look at like halfway through the paragraph where you say this is an extremely time-consuming process?
Oh, yes. So we're talking about the EDD files. This was the manual carving of the database, which not the project examiners do, but I did it in this case. We don't usually carve out manually databases. However, this is usually, my practice is that just to test the automated project tool, I do a manual one first. That is extremely time consuming, that is correct. We don't continue looking at data. That's huge, and you have to actually find the header first, and it's very involved. Because of that, I just do one manual, and the rest of it is going to be automated, which are actually shown on subsequent.
Okay. Let me ask you this. I know you've been involved from your testimony with at least about 670 different cases, right, over the years?
Yes.
And so you know what the burden of proof is in a criminal case, correct? I'm just curious, in report number 3, if you could go to page 6, I just want to know why you wrote this in your report. It's on page 6. You say, it looks like it's the second paragraph. Do you see where you say it's the defense's burden of proof to provide an evidence-based explanation of what occurred?
Yes, yeah. Introduce.
So I'm saying, first the question is, do you see that? Okay, and then my next question is, what did you mean by that it's the defense burden of proof?
Okay, so you introduced the Zoom issue there, Zoom invite. However, you didn't supplement it with a server logs. You just said that it was, here's the Zoom invite. This is an email that some lady received. Last name starts with F. And then you gave that to me and you said, go prove me wrong. And I said, no, this is something that you have introduced. You have the burden of proof. I can't prove you wrong. It's like, sometimes it's, you gave me a piece of evidence that you thought was evidence, but it wasn't as thorough.
Okay.
There's nothing to investigate.
Okay, I think I understand it, but you weren't trying to suggest that in criminal proceedings, that the defendant has the burden of proof, correct?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Thing.
Close to his fine. Yes, I'm not gonna answer that. All right. Did you take into account in coming to your opinion that Jillian Kerry intentionally sent the election email? Did you consider the fact that that Mr. Hathaway's own email, the SIO email, had a history of emails being sent without his knowledge?
Emails being sent
Yeah.
without his knowledge?
You want to see Exhibit G? I can show you that. Can I approach? Sorry?
It wasn't like an email just out of his inbox. He had sent it, and then it was delayed sent, right?
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, he's had a problem
But
with,
the question that you just asked me was that it entails as if lying out of the alpha.
all right. Have you seen this Exhibit G?
I think you gave that to us last August.
Can I approach? Thank you. Can you please read this line that let me back up. Do you see what that email is?
Yes, I have.
What is it?
This is an email sent from Mr. Hathaway to
Okay. And what is he saying in the email? Can you read that?
that email says, sorry, this email seems to have sent itself again
Can you keep reading?
when I logged on just now.
When I logged on just now, correct? Thank you. Did that give you any concern that maybe this was an automated transfer?
No.
No? Okay. Did you speak with Mr. Hathaway through emails?
Yes,
Did you speak to him in texts?
in text, I might have,
What about phone calls?
believe so, I believe there was at least 2 or 3 phone calls. at least.
And Mr. Chris Bailey, did you email? You received emails from him, correct?
Email that I spoke to him on the phone.
You ever text with him? Okay. What about Jessica Flintoff, the recipient of the election email? Did you ever interview her? And have you saved all of your emails and texts in this case?
I saved them.
Yeah.
I was going to try and save them.
Okay. Thank you. Now I'm going to ask you just what happens when someone tries to do a manual forward of an email? What are all the steps? So I'm going to go through those with you and see if you agree with this. So the first thing you would have to do to forward an email, Detective Parvis, is you would have to find it, right? Because you can't forward an email unless you find it. You have it, correct? Okay. And in this case, you testified that you saw that Mr. Hathaway's Outlook had, I think you said 69,000 emails. Is that correct? Okay. And now I want to ask you if Ms. Kerry launched Outlook at 6:07:15 and the election email was sent at 6:08:37, would you agree that that would be approximately 82 seconds? Do you have any reason to doubt my math? I double check because I'm not very good at math. But you agree though. So sometime between 6:07:15 and 6:08:37, she would have had to forward the email, correct?
Well, she forwarded the email at 6:08:37.
Okay, well, so sometime between those two times, she'd have to find it, correct? Between the time she launches Outlook and the time she sends the email, she would have to find it.
Sometime between the Outlook and actually, I'm going to make the paper edit shorter text. Would be sometime between the time when she opened Outlook and then opened that email. That's it. 6:08:02.
Okay. Okay, so then you say she opened it at 6:08:00, which means she only had 45 seconds from the time she launched Outlook to the time she opened the email, correct?
Can I look at the?
Sure, look at whatever you want. I'm getting close, Your Honor. So, sorry. I know this is long.
The Outlook was opened at 6:07, I think it's 15.
Yep, 15 seconds. Okay. And then the email sent, election email sent at 6:08:37, correct?
Email was open at 6:08.
Okay. It was open. All right. So launched and then opened is 6:07:15 to 6:08:00, correct? So 45 seconds. That's what I was asking. Okay. So in that 45 seconds, Jillian Kerry would, well, hold on a second. But it's less than 45 seconds though, right? Because when you launch Outlook, doesn't the server have to do its startup sequence?
That's pretty much it. So that's why we're talking about cache. You know, it gives you an illusion that you're opening up the server for the time being while it's compiling the email. Right? It's local. It's a call to the local.
Okay, but she can't find the email until after she launches Outlook. You would agree with that, right?
Well, if she clicked on Zoom and you automatically open the Outlook, then Outlook is open.
All right. I'm just asking you based on the artifacts. If she launched it at 6:07:15 and she opened it at 6:08:00, she can't open it until she finds it, right? You agree with that? Right. So she had 45 seconds under your this timeline to find this email out of 69,000 emails, correct?
Well, it's a search.
Do you have, any, well, you said simple search. Let me ask you this. Do you have any evidence that Jillian Carey even knew of the existence of this email before November 15, 2023? You have no evidence, don't you?
I can't read mine.
No. I'm not asking you to read her mind. I'm asking you, do you have any evidence that Jillian Carey knew of this, the existence of this email from July of 2022 that you say she intentionally forwarded?
Objection. That's the answer. He said he didn't.
Sustained.
Okay, I'll take that as a no. You don't have any evidence.
Take his answer.
But my question now is though, it's not 45 seconds, is it, to find the email? It's less than that because server has to start up. Isn't that correct?
You're not starting up the server when you open up Outlook. When you open up Outlook, it's going to pull up from a local folder an email that it has within it.
But it takes some time. That's my question.
It's instant. That's my answer.
Okay, instantly it boots up. You launch Outlook and instantly you can look at messages, right? So you're saying?
Instantly pulls up. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of old computer you're using.
But you agree that 45 seconds is what she had to work with, correct?
Objection. Asked and answered.
All
Sustained.
right, moving forward. Do you know what else Jillian Carey was doing at that time?
I don't know what she was doing. I think that she was preparing for a Zoom call.
Yeah. Starting to, all right. All right, so then after she finds the email at 6:08 and you say she opens it, then she has to also click on the forward button, right?
Doesn't take 30 seconds.
Okay, but then she has to type in the recipient's address, correct?
Yeah.
You have to type in Jessica Flintoff, don't you? I'm sure you could. That you'd have to hit click on send, correct? And we already talked about Mr. Lieb. Oh, I'll pass that over. Okay, I have a hypothetical, and this is the last area I'm going to go into, and then I'm going to be on your order. Here's my hypothetical. If Mr. Hathaway forwarded the election email himself, either intentionally or unintentionally, on November 13th, but he was not connected to the server at that time, do you agree that that election email would be preserved on his local mailbox residing on the shared laptop? Why not?
Okay, I went through the event logs in my report number 3 because your examiner brought that up. And I went through the connection. And for that to happen, you have to be disconnected from the internet. And that did not happen. According to the event log from what it's not,
I'm asking you hypothetical.
well, even hypothetically, it's impossible. The evidence. The contrary.
I'm asking you a hypothetical question. If you're wrong about that, all right, I'm going to just withdraw it. I don't think the witness is going to answer me. Last question, did the fact that Mr. Hathaway was at the time the supervisor of Scioto Township, did that impact in any way your investigation in this case?
Not at all, not the least.
Did it affect your objectivity? I have no further question.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You're welcome. May this witness be excused?
Yes, this witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, the people have no additional witnesses and will rest.
Any witnesses for defense?
No, thank you.
All right.
Your
Have a
Honor, consent
motion.
to be removed for bind over as to both counts 1 and 2. I do believe we sustained our burden and I'll reserve any further argument for rebuttal.
Response.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. As the court is aware, a standover for a bind over, while it's a low bar, it's still the standard, and that's probable cause. And that means the people have a burden to prove probable cause that a crime was committed and the defendant committed the crime. And probable cause has been defined in the case law in Michigan as a reasonable likelihood. And the crime that we're talking about, Your Honor, is interference with electronic communications. And that means that for Ms. Kerry to be guilty, she would have had to willfully and maliciously and without authorization sent this email in question. Now, on the issue of authorization, there is insufficient evidence that she acted without authorization. And that is because this is not a hacking case. This is a case where Jillian Kerry was authorized to use a laptop. She was a trustee operating in Township Hall, starting a road advisory committee meeting. And Hathaway's email opened on its own. So she was not hacking. She was not doing anything that she wasn't authorized to do. But the biggest problem in this case, Your Honor, is that it's not reasonably likely that she intentionally forwarded this email or even knew that it got forwarded. If you look at the time that it was launched, 6:07 and 15 seconds, and then you look at the time that it was sent, 6:08, 37 seconds, that's a difference of 82 seconds. And I submit to you that the device would have to take a period of time to boot up, to connect with the Outlook would have to be launched, and that would take some time. So she's going to have less than 82 seconds to do all of this. And she had to look through 69,000 emails, and you didn't hear any evidence about an artifact indicating that she opened any of the mailboxes. You have to find it. She'd have to hit forward. She'd have to type in Ms. Flintoff's email address, and then she'd have to click send, all while she's struggling to get her Zoom code to start the Zoom meeting. There is no clear motive here, Your Honor, for Ms. Kerry to send this old email from 2022. You've heard no evidence about this email, that there was anything secret in there, anything private in there. Indeed, it was with a township attorney, which Ms. Kerry, by virtue of being a trustee, you heard evidence, is perfectly able to communicate with those folks. There's no reason that she would do this. And she certainly wouldn't do it at a time when she's trying to start a meeting. When people are filing in the doors, she's going to sit there and commit 2 felonies. That doesn't make any sense. And at a time where Ian Hubert, who's the only eyewitness in this case, testified they were on their back foot. If you remember his testimony, he said they were on their back foot trying to get this meeting started. And Mr. Hubert is the only eyewitness to this you've heard from, and he was an exculpatory witness. He was exculpatory because he said he saw her trying to open her, not Mr. Hathaway's, email to get the Zoom authentication code so she could start the meeting. That's all she did with that email. That's all she did on November 15, 2023. And there's a complete lack of corroborating evidence in this case. There's no admissions by Ms. Kerry. There's not a single email or text or recorded call or anything showing that she did this intentionally. But Mr. Hathaway has an admission, which is he admitted that look at Exhibit G, he admitted that his email would sometimes send when he did not intend it to send. And given this fact, Your Honor, that both the election email and the Zoom invitation were sent 27 seconds apart, my submission to you is that the only reasonable explanation, Your Honor, is that Mr. Hathaway sent both of these items on November the 13th, 2023, when he admitted that he was struggling to send a Zoom invitation and start a Zoom meeting. And then because he wasn't connected to the server, for whatever reason, it was stored on the local outbox of the laptop. And then 2 days later, when Ms. Kerry had the horrible luck to click on this Outlook just to get her Zoom started, not to do anything with Mr. Hathaway's Outlook, Mr. Hathaway's Outlook pops up on its own. And the Outlook server synced. And it synced the stuff that the 2 things that Mr. Hathaway did on November 13th. And automatically transmitted those items. And it's happened to Mr. Hathaway before. Jillian Kerry, Your Honor, was doing her job on November 15th of 2023. She's a public servant spending after hours without any additional pay to start a road advisory committee meeting. She could not have foreseen when she tried to click on her to get her own verification code. She could not foresee that Mr. Hathaway had already logged in, that his email would pop open, and then it would send 2 items from his Outlook, which we have no evidence that she even knew happened at that time. And the scary part about this case, Judge, is it could have happened to anyone. Could have happened to anyone who happened to click on that Outlook icon. And as the gatekeeper of this case, Your Honor, I'm going to ask you to dismiss this case, to kick this case, to not continue to drag Ms. Kerry any further along on felony charges over an email that she did not send. She doesn't deserve it, and the people of Scioto Township deserve to have her back doing her job. Thank you.
Your Honor, as to the argument that the defendant was allowed to be on the laptop, I don't think that that's ever been a position that people have taken, that she was somehow not supposed to be on this laptop. But what we have presented to the court and what we have shown to sustain our burden of probable cause is what is undeniable. And what is undeniable is the forensic examination of what happened here. And the forensic examination clearly shows that a human being on this laptop interacted with this laptop, opened this email, and forwarded this email. It is distinct and separate from this Zoom invitation, which does not show a human being interacting with it. It is perhaps an attractive idea that this should be dismissed because this could happen to any of us. But for the grace of God, there go I, if I click on the wrong email on a laptop. But that's not what happened here, Your Honor. I do believe that people have shown through the forensic examination of these server logs and through Detective Parvis's testimony that a human being accessed this email and forwarded it. Furthermore, Your Honor, defense's argument that this has happened to Will Hathaway before, this has happened to him before, I would encourage the court to examine the date on the email in Exhibit G, which is after this incident. This email comes from 2024 that defense is using to support an argument that this has happened before to Mr. Hathaway. Your Honor, I think that there is absolutely a question of fact here for a trier of fact, and I'm going to ask the court to allow this case to continue to circuit court and bind it over and find that we have met our burden on both counts.
Court has listened to all of the testimony, and regrettably, quite frankly, I think even from the beginning of this case, my grave concern with what was put forth by the defense is this is not the point of trial. I'm not here to determine beyond a reasonable doubt this defendant's guilt or innocence. I'm here at this stage to determine whether or not there's probable cause to believe that this defendant should stand trial in this case, and she'll certainly have her day in court in this case. Regrettably, this was treated as though it were the trial stage, and it, quite frankly, didn't strategically or otherwise make much sense to this court as to why the defense was proceeding in that fashion. But it's the people's word to show by probable cause that this defendant committed offenses, and or that offenses were committed in that that this defendant did that. What is clear is that at a certain period in time when she was starting the Zoom meeting, that laptop was in possession of Ms. Kerry. That has been shown. The forensic evidence and testimony of Sergeant Detective, his title, I hope I get it right, Parvis, indicates that the email was forwarded, and it is human interaction that did it, and he could pinpoint exactly where that laptop was by the IP address, and could pinpoint that it was human interaction that did it. I'll call you that for the purpose of this record, but it didn't need to be brought up to the court. It wasn't lost on the court in terms of the date of Exhibit DG. I mean, it was exceedingly misleading to say that this was something that occurred beforehand. it had not occurred beforehand, at least not by that exhibit. And that was outside of the fact of being problematic in terms of handling to the court. I'll just leave that where it is. I didn't buy it for a minute because it's right there in black and white. But what was clear is with that human interaction, where that was, the defendant being in possession of that laptop is certainly enough probable cause for this court to believe that as to, and I'll start with count 2, the interfering with communications, that she did maliciously read and or send through a network without authorization that email. Now, the defendant may argue, will have his opportunity, they will have their opportunity to argue that it couldn't take place. We are at a probable cause hearing. All that does is create a question of fact. I am not here to resolve it. So as to count 2, the people have sustained their burden, the court would bind the defendant over on count 2, because that is the predicate crime. Her using the computer to commit a crime, which is count 1, with the maximum imprisonment of 2 to 4 years, the predicate crime being the interference with electronic communications being a 2-year offense. The people have also sustained their burden of showing that the defendant has committed the offenses outlined in count 1. So therefore, the defendant is bound over to stand trial on both counts. As to the arraignment, counsel.
Sorry, what is the question?
As to the arraignment,
Oh,
she's been bound up.
she'll waive reading, formal reading.
And how does she wish to plead?
She'll stand mute.
Defendant having waived formal reading, please standing mute. Court will enter a not guilty plea on her behalf. Pretrial in this matter will be set for
August 8th at 1:30 p.m. for Judge.
August 8, 2025.
I think we made a different date. Yeah,
That can't be right. You're right. No, I have the ability to go backwards.
excellent.
I developed that over the last day.
Indeed.
October. It's a 10, whatever month that is, 10, October.
10/8.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So she has the same issue you do. Don't worry. All right. October 8th, 2025, 1:30 before Judge
Judge who, I'm sorry?
Conlon.
Thank you.
And I don't know if it will still be a visiting judge at that time, but
Well, we hope not, and we hope, wish Judge Conlon a speedy recovery. I have all faith that he might be, but.
may I approach to sign the information, Your Honor?
You may have to prepare.
I have one.
Because I don't have,
I have one.
I was looking for one in the file.
You should have already
All right.
received one.
Thank you, folks.
What you're signing.
Bond will continue.
Thank you.
Great.